told you you'd have to start looking differently at the world.
I have to tie up the loose ends.
That was gonna be your job.
Then whose was it?
Mine. I realized I wasn't working for you. We've both been working for me. I'm the protagonist.
Then you'd better tie up those loose ends.
Welcome to another culture video. We're now a whole 5 phases into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka MCU, and its main comic book studio rival, DC, and their cinematic universe, aka DCEU, is still trying to establish its core cinematic universe, having recast actors' roles since the original Superman. Outside the comic book universe, films have gradually increased the use of superhuman, extraterrestrial life on screen because of the rise of imaginative cinema. Box office hits like John Wick is a prime example of this rise, and although it is not based on comic fiction, the success is as if the film franchise has had a cult-like following from decades past. MCU versus DCEU. Before breaking down the origin of DC and Marvel cinema, we first must establish what makes a film, as opposed to anything else. The meaning of movie, aka motion picture, film, is a production created to entertain, inform, or inspire through the rapid series of projected still photographs or video clips. Focusing solely on the transition from comic books to motion pictures, according to the Guinness World Book of Records and other sources, the first comic book superhero turned into a length motion picture was The Adventures of Captain Marvel in 1941, the legacy DC superhero character Billy Batson, a young boy given superhuman abilities by wizard Shazam, who can turn superhuman by saying the word. And Captain America 1944 is Marvel's first motion picture, a film about the super soldier who defends the nation and world more broadly, championing American values and justice above all. Today's fans would consider the first Marvel hero movie of the modern era as Iron Man, one of the cornerstone heroes in the MCU. The main character, Tony Stark, has no special powers like others, but the superhuman aspect comes from his mind and his forward-thinking inventions. Notable hero, protagonist, independent franchises without a comic book origin. Looking at the universe outside the classic comic book-based movies, we've mentioned the hit franchise John Wick, but other franchises have managed to portray the beyond human concept, including Zorro, 1922-2005, James Bond, 1962 to present, and we never know when they'll stop, even though we kind of don't want them to. Star Wars, 1977 to 2019. With such a rich franchise history, there's still more to come, but we're just waiting for confirmation for renewal of TV series and potential upcoming movies. Indiana Jones, 1981 to 2023. Rambo, 1982 to 2019. The Terminator, 1984 to 2019, The Karate Kid, 1984 to 2025, including the hit sequel TV series Cobra Kai, Die Hard, 1988 to 2013, Mission Impossible, 1996 to present, with the film coming out this year, Matrix, 1999 to 2024, included as the comics were released hand in hand with the movie franchise, with Matrix 1 and their first comic book, Goliath, both being released months apart in 1999. Riddick 2000 to 2013, Lara Croft Tomb Raider 2001 to 2018, The Bourne 2002 to 2019, including the Trendstone TV series, Kill Bill Volume 1 to Volume 2, 2003 to 2004, Hitman 2007 to 2015, The Titans 2010 to 2012, Divergent 2014 to 2016. The rise of comic book fandom. Before comic books existed, creative and fun cartoons were used in print publications. Example, newspapers, periodicals, magazines. The evolution of these illustrations birthed the comic book fandom era. One of the earliest comics was The Yellow Kid, which coined the phrase comic books, firmly establishing its identity separate from comic strips and cartoons like those before it. Set in the tenements of New York's Lower East Side, the comic chronicles the antics of a group of raucous working class children. The kids were led by a scrappy young boy whose given name was Mickey Duggan, but who quickly became known by the nickname the Yellow Kid after the mustard-colored nightshirt that he commonly wore. The comic was so popular that it not only sparked the evolution of comic books, but also the original artist of the comic strip, Richard Felton Outcoat, was sought after by Joseph Pulitzer himself. After having consumed his comics before hiring him to work at his newspaper publishing company, the New York World, It is worth mentioning that the social aspects of this comic, although relatable in the evidence of its popularity, also exemplified where society was at that point and how minorities, in this case Asians, were viewed nearly exclusively as stereotypes. Mickey Duggan possesses a variety of physical features that echo common caricatures of Asians in general and the Chinese in particular. He has buck teeth, squinty eyes, and big ears. The industry has come a long way since then, with the rise of anime's popularity in the animation and storytelling genre, a significant part of comic book culture today. Returning to the modern day comic book giants, it begins with DC's release of Superman Action Comics, later to become DC Comics #1 in 1938, followed by timely publications later to be Marvel's #1 in 1939. Fast forward in this century, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of superheroes, not only by the legacy studios, but including other notable comic book franchises such as Image Comics, characters including Omni-Man, Invincible. I'm sure we're all caught up with those characters. Valiant Comics, characters including XO Manowar and Livewire. Wildstorm Productions Comics, a subsidiary under DC and Image Comics, characters including Holden Carver and Wildcats. The integration of heroes, superheroes, has resonated with the need to see more imaginative content on the big screen. We've seen non-comic book based films become more creative, example Tenet, the concept of the protagonist being able to save the world without special abilities. A report from WiseGuy projects that the Comic Con market size is expected to grow by 4.56% from 2024 to 2032, with the market size reportedly being $1.6 billion in 2023, $1.75 billion in 2024, and $2.5 billion by 2032. Comic books meet the big screen. The rise of comic book popularity also factors in the fact that over time, the subject has not stuck with the superhero concept but has added genres that have made the event inclusive to all animation, comic, and live action films. With the growing popularity of genres including sci fi, fantasy, horror, anime, etc., box office sales show that comic hero based productions have grown in streams and box office sales. For example, Iron Man 2008, which had a budget of 140 million to make an approximate box office gross of 585.3 million, was a great starting point. Fast forward to Marvel's most significant release, Endgame, with a budget of 356 million and an approximate box office gross of $2.7 billion. And fast forward with DC's most significant release, not best, Aquaman, having an approximate budget of $160 million and an approximate box office of $1.1 billion. The growth trajectory matches the rise of fandom, but the figures do not lie when they show which fandom of the two comic franchises is winning. Cough cough. The duel continues as both studios continue to release franchise superhero movies, with the latest coming out late last year or early this year, and the next installment due as early as this year. The latest MCU hero film is Captain America 4, released 2025. Latest DCEU hero film was Joker, Folie, Deux, released 2024. And the next MCU hero installment is the Thunderbolts, releasing May 2025, followed by the next DCEU hero installment, Superman, releasing July 2025. We can appreciate how these genres have impacted society, with each franchise having its sub-franchises beneath it, gaining cult-like followings of merchandise, actor-specific casting fandoms, and even a significant following for franchise animations. In this new era of the rise of non-comic book independent films like John Wick and Tenet, fans are so engaged they are happy to have their protagonist fantasies portrayed by anyone who can do it well. John Wick is a case in point example, having released their first movie a decade ago. It has a spin-off, Ballerina, releasing this year as the fourth movie under their franchise. Lionsgate confirmed at CinemaCon that John will be back for their fourth sequel alongside a future franchise installment, another standalone movie based on Kane. There's no telling how long the comic book based cinematic universe will continue to be popular, but what is for sure is that it will last for the rest of the 2020s. Household superhero franchises such as Batman and Superman have movies due to be released shortly. Superman is set to release July 11th this year, and The Batman Part 2 has a release date of 2027. Some characters are ingrained into film culture even after being recast and rebooted, with up and down opinions from fans as time goes on. Whether you're a fan of superheroes or hero content, films, productions, comics, whatever, There's always something for everyone. So next time a movie comes out, check it out. What have you got to lose? Keep a lookout for our film TV reviews in our CS review series. At Cloutskout, we also release weekly newsletters on economy, sports, and culture. If you'd like to subscribe, you can see the link in the description. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.